Look what TJ Maxx dragged in.
The Devil Wears Prada 2 is now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
We are digital, we are downloadable, we are streamable.
The fashion event of the year is certified fresh.
Pull yourself together, we have work to do.
Critics say it's smart and witty and the perfect sequel.
That's all.
Get runway ready for The Devil Wears Prada 2 on Disney Plus and Hulu. Rated PG-13.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
And I want Nolan to make a film that I really love. He came close with Memento. He came because the structure was so clever, and he came close with The Dark Knight because Ledger gave such a brilliant performance. But everything else is always kind of like left me a little bit cold.
Yeah, and our YouTube live was a little off, but now everyone can see our lovely gallery faces. So I actually think what Brian you're saying is great. So Brian Alessandro, Patrick Maroney, joined with my husband Lawrence. I'm Andrew Rimby. So we're just talking about like our preconceived notions about Christopher Nolan directing. So yeah, I mean, the only film of Christopher Nolan's I think I really enjoyed was The Dark Knight Rises. So I kind of just came into it with the first trailer concerned that I didn't see any of the female characters. Because if you remember, it was very just like the warrior of Odysseus, Telemachus, I think was in it. And that was really it. And then eventually we got Anne Hathaway as Penelope and maybe saw Calypso. No, we saw Zendaya, I think.
We saw Zendaya as
Athena.
Athena. We never really saw who gave the best performance in the film was Samantha Morton. Everybody's saying that, and I do agree with it. Her Cersei, we never really saw in the trailer either. It was a nice surprise. I thought that's when the film came most alive for me, was that 10-minute sequence.
I think that was intentional, though, to not tip their hands with that scene because it is such a standout, and it's the one scene that I think everyone has been applauding.
Yeah.
That everyone is always complaining about trailers giving too much away, and to show even part of that scene would have lessened some of the impact that it has. So that was probably very strategic to not show her in the trailer.
I agree.
Absolutely. Well, how about just the text, right? Brian had gotten a little into, telling Lawrence about what's now the most popular translation, and it used to not be. It was the Robert Fagles translation, which was popular, his Iliad and Odyssey. Now, Emily Wilson, first female classicist to translate the Odyssey and the Iliad. Now she's done the Iliad. And then in this September, she has a collection of essays about ancient Greek literature coming out called Crossing the Wine Dark Sea. Right, Wine Dark Sea refers to the ancient Greek land. Right. So what was your background knowledge of the Odyssey? Like, did you hold the epic poem close to you, or were you not really even approaching the film from that lens?
I think I read it like everybody else in college over 20 years ago. I read the 1961 Fitzgerald adaptation or translation. But, just very quickly, I know that Daniel Mendelsohn just released an April 2025 translation, which Joyce Carol Oates says is the most poetic. So that's something that people might want to put on their radar.
Wait, Daniel Mendelsohn.
Daniel Mendelsohn, yeah.
Okay,
And,
I feel like I've
just
heard...
last year.
Has he done other classic works?
I just was struck by her endorsement of it, saying that it was the most poetic of all the translations.
Okay.
I still don't understand why I'm not to be naive. I don't understand why they call it a poem for as long as it is and as many renderings as the Odyssey. It's not a poem in my opinion. So, but I'm not a writing text expert.
Literary professor. It's an epic poem, right? They're quick and dirty of poetry. There are three major genres of poetry: epic, lyric, um, not well, sometimes dramatic monologues, but epic, yeah, epic and lyric um are lyric is the major one. Like lyric is a short poem. So Whitman, Emily Dickinson, they're all lyric poems. But yeah, epic poems, really the only major ones are Homer's Iliad, Odyssey, and Virgil's Aeneid.
Mhm.
But yeah, you're right. It's a long narrative. Um, but yeah, you were bringing up Ryan, Emily. I think we could bring it up. I think first, Christopher Nolan. Like, do you all know he really admires Emily Wilson's translation, which I think her scathing critique is what
Yeah,
hurts even more. Is that he endorsed her?
I think she's entitled to her opinion. I just don't love the way she went about it. And I certainly didn't hate the movie, and I didn't hate it nearly as much as she did if I did.
Oh, I didn't hate it.
I
Yeah,
didn't
I
hate it.
didn't
I
hate it
didn't
at
hate it
all.
at all. I thought that she went out of her way to really um, sort of eviscerate it.
No, you're
From
right. Critical opinion.
I
Yeah.
was just rereading what she wrote, which is an epic essay almost in its own because it's like 5,000 words for
Yeah.
a critical review. And I should be careful because if I'm on UPenn's campus all the time, and if I come across her, I don't want to get like clotheslined. Um, but I think from reading it, like one, I got the feeling that she's not really a Christopher Nolan fan to begin with.
Mm.
Because she was kind of bashing some of his other movies also.
All boring,
Um,
she said,
yeah,
right?
when she says they're boring,
Yeah.
but also,
Boring.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean that right there is kind of a red flag when
Yeah.
you're saying some of his movies are that most of his movies are boring. But I think also what I took away from her essay is that almost no adaptation would be sufficient for her, unless maybe they did a limited series that wasn't done by Hallmark like in the 90s. But there are valid things that she says about it. But this is an adaptation. The movie's already almost 3 hours long, and to add things in to it, that would have made it appeased her a little bit more, I think would have just made it too unwieldy. And he was
Yeah.
focusing on certain things that there was just no way she was going to come into that and walk away satisfied. She's too close to the narrative, I think.
Look what TJ Maxx dragged in.
The Devil Wears Prada 2 is now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
We are digital, we are downloadable, we are streamable.
The fashion event of the year is certified fresh.
Pull yourself together. We have work to do.
Critics say it's smart and witty and the perfect sequel.
That's all.
Get runway ready for The Devil Wears Prada 2 on Disney Plus and Hulu. Rated PG-13.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Patrick, what
True.
was interesting that she kept so that she brought up in it was the London Review of Books, I think, is where the essay was published,
Yeah.
was that there wasn't enough sex, or the food didn't look delicious enough, that the feasts looked kind of flimsy, and I know those sound like superficial surface criticisms, but I think what she was trying to get at is, why would Odysseus care so much to come home? Like, she also didn't get a sense of real passion between Odysseus and Penelope. And if he's going on this incredible 20-year voyage just to get back home, then what's really driving that? That's what she didn't think it was palpable, that desire
Yeah.
aspect of
Well,
it.
let's get into the sex because I think actually there's some major differences with Christopher Nolan's version.
Mhm.
Spoiler alerts. Which is Patrick, you brought up the 90s film. I've been sharing clips from it Bernadette Peters as Cersei, Vanessa Williams as Calypso. I really recommend everyone watch it. I think it is really interesting. It's very fairy tale theater-ish, which I don't mean that in a negative. I mean that in it's mythical. It has all the gods and goddesses. Um, but it's true to the text, which is Odysseus is an adulterer. He sleeps with Cersei, he sleeps with Calypso, he sleeps with the woman we don't even see in Christopher Nolan's Nausicaa. That's completely gone, that island.
It's right.
And there's no homoeroticism at all in Christopher Nolan's.
I know, this
I
is
think
ancient
there's
Greece.
yeah, and there's only I think there is one moment where you see like a bare butt of a guy who's like killed on Cersei's island.
Right.
But that's really it. But did we need my question is I'm fine. Like Emily Wilson's major critique was Christopher Nolan shouldn't have written the screenplay. That like someone should have written it. Maybe I'm just speculating. Maybe she's annoyed that she wasn't asked to write it.
That's possible.
Just
I mean, but
saying.
she's also not a screenwriter. And the problem, I think, with historians and philosophers and literary writers, people who've never made a film, um, my chip on my shoulder is that I wrote and directed a feature film in 2011. It was distributed. It's such an inherently different medium from literature and certainly from poetry. I feel like a filmmaker should work toward blanching the essence or the inspiration of the text and then doing what they please with it and whatever works. Because what works in film on a set in real life is not the same thing that maybe worked on the page. I also say this as someone who's written 4 novels, so I get it. Like they have to be really looked at in very discrete ways. You can't be too faithful. I feel like that may become detrimental if you're too faithful. I mean, like Kubrick is the great example of this. He always remade the book, and all of his films are based on books or short stories.
I think
like goes.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
go on, Patrick. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think this isn't necessarily related to the sex criticism, but I think going back to what you were saying about, you know, the chemistry and showing him wanting to go get home, I think that's the bigger issue is they don't really develop him and Penelope as a couple,
Yeah.
you know, either through the narrative, the flashback narratives, or in the beginning, you don't really get to see them as a couple and, you know, root for them or want to see them come back together. And then the end is the other criticism that I have of the movie is the end comes very quickly between the climax and then wrapping things up. You know, so you don't get that, oh, well, why is he trying to rush home to Penelope? What is driving him? You know, and without that, it kind of is, oh, should he have spent these 7 years hoeing it up with Calypso on
Yeah.
the island? You know, things like
Right.
that. Having sex with Cersei. Although personally, seeing what she does, I'd be a little scared. What she would do during
Oh
the
God.
act. Yeah.
There's a whole book right there. Well, they do
Yeah.
write a novel about Cersei, right? But I don't know if it goes into like what happens when you have sex
Oh
with
yeah,
her. But
Madeline
I'll read
Miller's
that.
Cersei. Oh, our
Yeah.
September book club choice for the Ivory Tower Boiler Room.
Oh
Free.
wow,
Join
that's been on
it.
my
Yeah, you should
radar.
come.
Yeah,
You should come,
I'll
yeah.
get a copy.
But well, and Bernadette Peters, I mean, I just love I was rewatching that scene and Lawrence was listening, and just with her New York accent, it's so good when she's like, come to bed with me. And
I did
I
did
love her
it.
performance, I have to
I
like in a very different vein. She
yeah.
plays a seductress, which
Right.
is usually how Cersei's seen.
I do remember reading, like when I was reading this in high school, I just remember a lot of the sexual scenes as I'm going past it. Not 50 Shades of Grey intense, but I'm reading it and I'm just like not really relating with Odysseus. Like, I don't like this character. I am not a fan of this character. I love the witches. I love them. They can, if they want to have sex with him, that nothing wrong with them. I just felt watching this movie, it made like I loved it. Seeing the sex removed, seeing that narrative removed. Now you just have the journey. Like
the PTSD.
Yeah.
It's not about lust. It's not about the vices, which I think well, I thought trauma was so strong in this version that I loved that. I thought Yeah, what did we think worked? Like, I did think that the trauma
Yeah.
of
Oh,
Odysseus and
I,
him losing his men, and I'm even like, I
yeah.
don't even know if
Someone to
Charlize
hate.
Theron as Calypso is real. I don't even know.
Sinon and Agamemnon and all of his dead men. And I think so much of this epic poem and so much of the film is about how men are turned into beasts during war. And of course, when Cersei literally turns men into their true forms, swine, right? Their disguises are humans. Go back
They're
to your
pigs.
disguises. They're pigs. They're brutal, brutal, brutal animals during times of war. And I think that that weighs on him. So, did you guys see The Return very quickly? The Return came out a couple of years ago with Ray Fiennes and Juliette
Sarah
Binoche.
Michelle Gellar?
No, it was Juliette Binoche and Ray Fiennes, and it's about the ending of the Odyssey when he returns home to Ithaca.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's really tremendous.
Yeah, what do you like about it, Brian?
About The Return or this one?
Hmm.
The
The
Return?
Return.
The Return actually felt a lot more raw to me. There was a lot more raw energy. It didn't feel quite as mannered or careful or constructed. It just felt like it felt almost more like an independent film, European independent film take on the end of
Mm.
the Odyssey. And there's so much story, as Patrick said. It almost works better as like a mini series because there's just so many episodes that the filmmaker of The Return focused on just the ending, on just the literal return back to Ithaca. And it just made it a more urgent and immediate
Yeah.
telling, I thought. Did you see it,
Well,
Patrick?
have either of you seen the Ulysses Italian film from 1954 with Kirk
No,
Douglas?
I
no.
Oh,
actually came into this not knowing much about the Odyssey. Like I hadn't read it in school. I know I've seen Disney's Hercules.
Yeah.
And there's a couple other things that like I know like touch points of Greek mythology and everything,
mhm.
but I didn't know a ton. Like I knew Calypso was someone and that Circe's was a sorcerer or something, So I was kind of almost a blank slate a little bit with it.
Okay.
Um, but one thing I just wanted to go back to what Brian was saying before we go on to the Kirk Douglas movie.
Yeah.
The Zendaya Athena, that's actually become online a big kind of debate about if that is his PTSD manifesting her
Mhm.
as Athena, or if it's Athena toying with him
Mm.
to kind of make him feel some of the guilt.
Mhm.
Um, and people are kind of comparing it to like the top and in Inception as like this is one of the things that it's left to your own deciding. And I think Nolan or one of the filmmakers came out and said like it's intentionally left vague of if it is actually Athena or if it's his manifestation because of seeing the priestess get beheaded.
I love that. And I love that. I love
No, that's cool.
more ambiguity, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Would that be the only like uh, aside from Cersei and Calypso, she's technically like the only god, like mythical
Yeah,
person.
well, she's Odysseus's guide.
God,
Well,
they call
she
it.
goes in the disguise of an old man to Ithaca to Telemachus to convince him
Right. And now
to
it's
go search for his father.
right.
But yeah, she's like in the Odyssey at the beginning. Um, Odysseus is on Calypso's island, which I love that the film actually is very truthful to in media res, which is just in the middle of things, which is an ancient Greek technique in literature that it just drops you into the scene and then you flash back to everything. Because I think that can confuse an audience, an American audience who likes chronology. But I thought Christopher Nolan did a great job moving back and forth.
He's a master of that, honestly.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know. I didn't need the Zeus and everyone in Mount Olympus
Oh, I didn't
debating
mind.
about Odysseus, but I think in a narrative form it makes sense with the epic poem. In a film, it can be very corny. I mean, I think that's what people will see about the Hallmark film, even though I think it's interesting. It's campy, but I yeah, I just love what happens in this film with even just the nuances and the stillness of Penelope specifically. I thought Anne Hathaway plays the different registers of emotion
Oh,
really well.
I thought everybody's talking about Samantha Morton, but I also thought that Anne Hathaway's performance was pretty much as good. I really do. It's the best thing I think she's ever done. Um,
Yeah.
and I really loved Mother Mary. And I know you did too, Lawrence.
She was incredible in both.
She was
All these,
incredible.
this is her year.
This is
Her
her
and Zendaya
year.
are doing like
She has
10
five
movies or
movies.
something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
oh
each have
yeah,
like five.
she's still going. She has like two more,
Yeah.
right? The End of Oak Street and Verity.
Yes, that's right. And there's something we haven't said yet about Nolan's filmmaking is I appreciate how he uses practical effects and practical sets. There's
With
not enough
Cersei
that,
Specifically. And the
yeah, well, the
giant,
Cyclops,
the Cyclops, I said
Polyphemus,
giant.
Cyclops was
yeah,
excellent.
that
I
was
didn't know that
incredible
was
with Bill
real.
Irwin. Yeah, it was
That's
Bill Irwin.
crazy.
There was a giant puppet, but then they also had Bill Irwin, and I guess they matched them in post somehow. But
Oh,
it
that's
had
cool.
texture and weight, and it was really, really impressive. Um,
I hated the face.
Yeah, I mean, the creature looked like it was in a perpetual state of agony, and your heart ends up breaking for it, especially when its eyes gouged out. I did anyway.
Oh, hi, Ryan. I see someone in our YouTube live, Ryan Sampson, who is in the theater community in New York.
Hey,
Thanks for
Ryan.
joining. Okay. Um, well, and yeah, what did you think of? I thought it was so chilling, very um Hansel and Gretel fairy tale, just Cersei. I
Yeah.
just thought
That
the
was my favorite part.
connection of SA, since I know we're on YouTube, SA and like what had happened to her with previous warrior men and like that trauma she carries, and then her changing the form of them, like the way that that's all practical effects was fascinating. Like that to me is more haunting
Oh,
than CGI.
absolutely. Oh, for
How she's
sure.
talking to them and like
Yeah.
molding the
Massaging them
face.
into something
Yeah.
else. Yeah, it was wild.
Very
What were they
weapons,
eating? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
very Aunt
lamb,
Gladys.
like lamb's, sheep's
Gladys.
stomach or intestines or something? Like it just looked like
Entrails.
this long intestine
Haggis.
thing that they
Well,
were eating. I
Was
have
it
no
haggis?
idea.
I think it was haggis.
yeah. Well, I mean, and essentially they were eating the previous men that had been
Oh,
there.
right. They were
Oh,
butchered, right? Because they were
Like,
turned into pigs previously.
because she
Yes.
was,
oh,
yeah, she was
Right.
telling him to go
Right.
butcher one of the,
Right.
oh, it's like
um,
cannibalism cycle.
Yes.
yeah,
Mm.
and that's,
Yes.
I've actually, that's the one scene that people who don't like horror, I've kind of warned them about it. Like this scene really kind of borders onto horror, especially body horror. And,
Yeah.
I think if you're going into the Odyssey as like most people know it, they might not be expecting a scene like that in this, like um when the scene with the undead when they go to the Undertaker, that I think people expect it's going to be a little bit, but like the gruesomeness of the Cersei scene, I think people aren't necessarily going to always be prepared for.
Mm.
Because even just the simple, like the way that they sped up the actors when they're like eating and the food like coming out of the mouth,
Mm.
like even that's just very unsettling and everything. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing in that scene that is not in some way horrific.
Mhm.
He even
Yeah.
clips it like so well that it's just like you're getting like little clips of like people eating, and then as she's transforming the other ones, it's like you're not getting the full picture. He's breaking it down and just showing you how his vision is for that one scene. And like, yeah,
He,
it was
yeah. I
very
mean,
terrifying because we were
no.
in IMAX
Oh,
and
Oh,
yeah.
the
It's a giant
IMAX was
snout. Yeah.
incredible.
no,
Yeah.
Patrick said like all I kept going, I'm like, I'm getting sick looking
Yeah.
at this. This is we're immersed
Well,
in these kids, in these men, just like engorging themselves. I'm like, this is disgusting. Like,
I think this bodes well for horror fans because Nolan said he does want to
yeah,
make a horror film, and we know now that he can do it if he wants to. That was a really great preview,
Yeah, yeah.
and I
Well,
hope he
and I
does.
think we also should talk about Lupita Nyong'o. I thought,
I
amazing.
well,
thought she
and
was great.
there is a rave. I mean, there is a rave that Emily Wilson has, even though so many, I was listening to her on NPR because she does talk about her criticism. And I think I recommend that because she gets into different nuances about it, which is she did say, I'm so happy that this is like, well, it's making her book become a bestseller now again.
Yes, that's right.
But uh, she also saying like people are now looking at Madeline Miller's retellings. People want to know about Clytemnestra, like who, we do see clips of that or snapshots where Clytemnestra's husband Agamemnon sacrifices their daughter to have a good journey. Clytemnestra is so angry, as I think a lot of us would be if our spouse killed our child. And then she's having an affair. Agamemnon's having an affair. And then when he comes back, Clytemnestra uh, and her lover kill Agamemnon. Like, and there's even a retelling book called Clytemnestra, and I'm like, oh, I need to get my hands on that.
Yeah.
Like, it's making you want to. I think Christopher Nolan's making you, as a viewer, want to find more sources. And retelling.
Hello.
Look what TJ Maxx dragged in.
The Devil Wears Prada 2 is now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
We are digital, we are downloadable, we are streamable.
The fashion event of the year is certified fresh.
Pull yourself together. We have work to do.
Critics say it's smart and witty and the perfect sequel.
That's all.
Get runway ready for The Devil Wears Prada 2 on Disney Plus and Hulu. Rated PG-13.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
He's doing a service to literature and to history, I think.
And that's what Emily Wilson really applauds. I think.
I thought Lupita was great. I thought Elliot Page was great. I thought that it was really profound. I almost teared up when they start talking about how Odysseus said that the finest man he ever knew was Sinon, played by a trans man, which is profound. I
love that.
It's very profound. It was deeply moving. And I love
and
I
Elliot,
love Nolan for that.
And Sinon doesn't know, like, is basically being used as a
a decoy.
What would you call diversion?
Like a lure.
A diversion, yeah. And I thought like Odysseus, Matt Damon hearing Sinon be killed. Like, well, we have to talk about Matt Damon. So, I mean, it is Odysseus's story.
Yeah.
But I really did love Tom Holland as Telemachus as well. I thought he did a really nice job.
Yeah.
Wait, can we also talk about, since we're talking about Elliot Page and Sinon and the horse, I need to know more about the structure inside the horse. They had like 70 guys in there. Half of them were like underwater. They were like sitting on each other's like heads. It was like
drowning. They don't tell you, but some of them die inside the horse, and and Nolan
was inside of it, right? Shooting.
Yeah, he made that structure and filmed inside of it. Like what a I don't know any cool. And with a $1 million camera, like. Hold on, I'm just got to be careful with this. There's only 5 in the world. Like, wait, what was the budget of this film? Does anyone know? Unlimited.
No, it was 250.
But he went in with like 3 stipulations. If you want me to direct a movie, I want full control.
Yeah.
I want my budget. And I forget the third thing, but I know he said like there's 3 things. If you want me to do this movie, that's I want creative control, my budget, and
of course it's going to make over $1 billion.
And IMAX. IMAX.
Well, he created a special camera just to shoot it in 70 millimeter IMAX. And do you know that people are spending upwards of $1,000 a ticket just to be able to see it in 70 millimeter IMAX?
Well,
they're selling them
like
online.
20 theaters or something
across the country. Yeah, they're very few.
Like, people, I can imagine like hardcore are like taking flights, like making
Las Vegas. This is where we're very lucky being in New Jersey and New York and Philly area.
Philly has one,
We saw it in Atlantic City when I was on my bachelor trip. And that was sold out at the Tropicana. Amazing theater. If anyone's ever in Atlantic City.
400 seats, right? Or something?
Yeah, like 500 seats. And then New York City has a lot of 70 millimeter New Jersey. Yeah. But you're right. If you're like in the middle of the country, people
It's
are
like
flying.
25
Wow.
total. Yeah.
That's
So
wild.
25,
Okay.
25 total in the country. That's it.
it's something like
Wow.
that. Yeah,
Wow.
25 or
Wait,
40. I
where was
forget.
the shooting of the film?
All over. It was like
Mhm.
Tunisia, Morocco, Greece, Sicily, um,
So it was all on location, or was there
all
any
of
ever soundstage?
they
I
did
don't think
sound stages in LA. They did for the some of the boat sequences on the water, like during the storms.
Yeah. But they
Okay,
were
that
on the
makes
water for
sense.
some of it too.
Yeah,
yeah.
So
yeah.
like they
Wow.
In the
really,
Mediterranean. Yeah.
yeah.
And I know
And
Anne Hathaway, she was saying something in an interview like,
She got helicoptered.
I want to be helicoptered in.
They
Like,
did.
I
Wow.
need to
They did.
not be sweating.
Yeah.
I'm the queen.
Can you imagine going to work every
Queens
day on a
don't sweat.
helicopter? Yeah.
Well, and she said in an interview on the red carpet who her muse was, like who she thought of,
I
Maria
know. Maria
Callas.
Callas. Yeah. And she evokes her. She really does. She
Yeah,
really
and
did
like that
invokes
image of
her.
just her behind the doors,
Yep.
like, oh,
She's
it's
regal
so
and powerful.
theatrical. It's so rooted in what I think that's the ancient Greek epic is
Mhm.
it's tied to that epic storytelling, the oral tradition, the bard. The I love that the bard is there. I love that you had that as the opening. Is
Yeah. Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
telling the tale of the Trojan War.
And you
Mhm.
you said something key there, I think, Andrew, is that this story has been retold for hundreds of years before Homer finally sat down and write it down. And even his identity and authorship is called into question routinely. So we almost don't really
Multiple
know for
writers,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, it could have been a committee, it could have changed like a game of
female
telephone,
writer. Oh
female
yeah,
writer,
lots of
but
theories.
yeah, yeah.
Well, and oh no, you're gonna say something, Patrick. I saw.
oh, I was just gonna say, going back to like female writers and whatnot, that's the thing, and we touched on this a little bit about how Emily Wilson's sales have gone through the roof.
Mhm.
That's the part that I find disingenuous. And she says in her essays that, the goal is that like people will probably go search these out and whatnot. But she writes that essay knowing that it's going to create a stir, which
Yeah,
will then boost her sales even more.
sure, sure.
So it kind of almost feels like, because if she didn't write the essay, would we even be talking about her more than a mention in this
Mhm.
or
You're right.
however many other conversations people have? She's
Right.
she's positioned herself at the forefront of the Odyssey discussions, which will only increase her sales. So
Smart.
it's
It's
smart, but
smart. It's
Smart.
called rage bait.
yeah,
Yeah,
like,
Yeah,
and then
because
I almost wonder if that is like a literary rage bait that she did.
possible.
Maybe.
Very
And
possible.
maybe she's seeing if it can work in the university community because, as we know, academics are not known for rage bait, and they definitely don't want to put themselves out there like that. So, I mean, kudos to her. I think also, wait, Brian, if you want to bring up what was Joyce Carol Oates' response to her?
So I thought what was interesting about Joyce Carol Oates' response to Emily Wilson's criticism of the film was that she wasn't necessarily taking exception with the fact that she didn't like it, but rather the way she went about presenting it. I think she compared her to like MAGA, like
Mhm.
MAGA style
Right.
takedown, crude.
Like,
I think she used the term crude.
Yeah.
Um, but Joyce Carol Oates also, I thought her novel Blonde was a complete masterpiece. I
oh
thought
my goodness.
Andrew
So good.
Dominic's adaptation, even though it was panned, was a complete
I love
masterpiece.
that film,
I love
Blonde.
that film. It was my second favorite film of
Anna
2022
de Armas should
after
have
Tar. She should have won the
been
Oscar.
nominated.
No, I think she
She was
was.
Wait,
nominated.
she
She
was
was.
nominated.
She
She was
was.
nominated.
She
She
should
should have
have.
won,
She should have won.
in my opinion.
I do think, yeah, her or Kate Blanchett because she was amazing also in Tar. That was the same year.
He
But
has enough awards.
I
Give
know,
it to
you're right.
someone
That's
else. It's like
fair.
her
Give
and
it.
Meryl.
I
Yeah.
know. Enough
Well,
Let
already.
and
someone
Joyce
else.
Carol Oates, Where Are
But
You Going? Where Have You Been? Short story. When
yeah,
I teach the dimension of that, if you've never read it, listen to it. It's on
well,
YouTube. So
but
fabulous.
I
Yeah.
think that Joyce Carol Oates felt a little bit sad that her film Blonde, that Andrew Dominic wasn't more appreciated as a visionary. When I interviewed her in 2022, she was raving about what a gifted visionary and storyteller he was. She knows how hard it is to make a film, and that a film has to be a director's personal vision, that it can't be beholden to real life events or previous texts, right? So I
Yeah.
think she was she almost has sort of taken up the mantle of defending filmmakers wrestling with tough adaptations.
Didn't that happen with The Devil Wears Prada with like the writer, the sequel, like of the assistant who was based off of a character? She started doing tours too. She's like, oh, the writer didn't get me accurately. It is 2026. Like, it is this director's opinion. He got backed. If he wants to make this movie, like, I don't know who Emily is, but like,
it's fictional.
I didn't read her Odyssey. I read somebody else's.
And it's not an autobiography of the Emily Blunt character.
Right.
Right.
Well, no, I meant like this Emily, whoever.
Oh, you mean Emily Wilson, the translator?
Yeah, like I'm sorry, I didn't read your translation. I read somebody else's. Like she needs to get over herself because talking about this book, talking about this director's path, he got what he wanted and he made an amazing movie.
Can we talk about?
Well, she also takes issue. The thing that the an element that I found, and this was in her NPR interview, is she takes issue with people seeing her translation as feminist. And I thought that was kind of reminds me of Margaret Atwood being frustrated that people think The Handmaid's Tale is a feminist text.
But see, this movie,
but it's like if my interpretation is your Odyssey is more centering the women and giving them agency, and I think that's feminist, that's not a negative. That's my opinion of your text.
He did say something interesting in an interview I saw her with recently, that for a lot of people for a very long time, the Odyssey has been construed as a kind of symbol for masculine adventure and conquest. And a lot of people feel protective of it or some sense of ownership. And as a woman, I think she felt like she's really been targeted for translating it into English. She said that she's been like the recipient of a lot of chauvinistic scorn.
Oh yeah, she said she gets a lot of hate mail from misogynists, which I think is horrible. I mean, I don't think any of us are condoning that.
No,
but I think that's what Nolan did with this movie, is made it more of a feminist touch.
He did.
And
he did. I think so. With Cersei, definitely with Cersei.
Well,
the witches alone.
In the original text, Andrew, usually Telemachus gives his mother Penelope a reading down, banishing her to her room to continue with her weaving. But in this version, she's the one who's constantly giving him a tongue lashing, putting him in his place. She's a much more ferocious character in this adaptation.
She's queen.
Yeah, these women, even Helen of Troy, like seeing that she's been damaged, like she's has a scar. And like, I think seeing the way that women's bodies in war are also impacted is not something you usually see. Again, like you said, this is an epic tale. I didn't expect that it was going to hit everything. Did it need to have him go to the island with Nausicaa and the marriage that happens there? I don't think so. Did he need to commit adultery? I mean, or did these women need to seduce him? I don't think so either. The sirens too. We see the sirens, but do they actually exist?
Right.
The mermaids.
We all go deaf during that scene, or we all like it's silent. And I thought that was so cool too.
Yeah.
You know what would be interesting to see is with how successful this is, to see if it brings on, this was Universal, right? That did release
Universal Legendary, yeah.
Yeah, to see if they do almost spin-offs of this with other characters that were left out or other stories. Because I could see that, either them or seeing other studios see how this did. And then, because that's how Hollywood loves a trend.
Yeah.
So they could very easily, and a lot of times they take the wrong information from a hit, but I could see a lot of studios suddenly saying, let's go mine Greek mythology and the gods, and either spin-offs of this that creates a Nolan universe kind of with
cinematic universe, the Iliad by Nolan.
Exactly.
Well, I mean,
he wouldn't do it, but like other people and like he could produce them, or other studios saying like, oh, we're gonna do the Iliad, or we're gonna do a movie about the sirens.
That's totally gonna happen, Patrick.
Yeah, well, and I think I think that's also the queer possibility of like, okay, kind of like our heated rivalry conversations, or like how there's conversations of like, oh, heated rivalry has opened the door for male love in all different projects. Okay, are we opening the door to Song of Achilles with Achilles and Patroclus's love? Are we going to open the door to Circe? Are we going to open the door to I Medusa, which is by Ayana Gray, Clytemnestra? Yeah, I agree, Patrick. I mean, I would love that, and I think if that's what happens, it takes someone like Nolan to use his voice and power and money to open the door. Yeah. So that's where it's not all going to happen at once. Right. And I think what he does do with the female characters, again, I'm not a woman, but with my background in gender studies, I will say I do think he has moved the needle away from a patriarchal version of the story.
For sure.
Well, and another thing with, going back to the sex of it all, Nolan doesn't include sex in a lot of his movies. Like, other than Oppenheimer.
Well, and I've never seen that scene, but apparently it's very controversial, right? At the beginning or something. Someone's going down on someone.
I mean, Florence Pugh's whole role in the movie is just to have sex, basically.
And then die.
Yeah.
I need to watch Oppenheimer.
She dies because she can't get any more sex.
She died, which is a horrible message. I know.
But most of his movies really don't have sex in it. So to also be expecting that this is suddenly going to be the sex-soaked version of the Odyssey, you're setting up expectations that the movie won't be able to meet.
The 50 Shades of Grey, Christopher Nolan Odyssey.
I did go in there thinking that it was going to be like, oh God, what are they going to do with this scene? Like when he's around all the women in the book, like, I'm like, I don't really want to see this anymore. Like it's 2026. I don't need him being an adulterer with like a cave filled with women. And we didn't have any of that. Like it removed all of that.
Well, and I think that if you want, like, again, I think that every re-adaptation of the Odyssey is going to give you a different theme. It's going to focus on a different theme, right? Like some of the 1954 and the 1990s, it is more about the men forgetting, Odysseus forgetting because he falls for seduction and temptation. It's more like the Garden of Eden, basically. But yeah. Well, and wait, can I just read real quick, Brian, what you brought up? So what Oates says, just to quote, is, Emily Wilson wrote that Nolan's film lacked psychological, emotional, political, and ethical depth and had nothing convincing to say. Okay, really strong. So then Oates says, rather than disagreeing with interpretations of Homer in a collegial manner, this person who has benefited enormously from Nolan's film speaks in the crude language of MAGA folks attacking someone with ideas that differ from hers. One would expect a translator of all people, beholden to a text and service to a text, to be just a wee bit more thoughtful and respectful of others who are acting in good faith, just as she would claim she is. Well,
like good for her.
I mean, call her out. But I think it's great that these female authors are being at the center of the debate. Like even, I haven't listened to her critique yet, but Mary Beard is someone also you should all listen to her podcast, because Mary Beard is an expert classic scholar, and she's been reviewing the Odyssey too. Actually, I think she's doing a book club on her podcast. So I think that's great. I think it's great. Emily Wilson, Joyce Carol Oates, Mary Beard, Madeline Miller. I mean, if anything, I haven't really seen a male critic be that front and center, but maybe you have. I don't know. Us?
This episode is brought to you by Workday. Guessing is for game shows, not your business, especially when your margin for error is 0. Workday is the enterprise AI platform for HR, finance, and IT, with a deep understanding of your organization's context and guardrails. So every AI action is permission aware, giving you accuracy 24/7 and the ability to not just get work done, but get it done right. It's a new Workday.
Look what TJ Maxx dragged in.
The Devil Wears Prada 2 is now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
We are digital, we are downloadable, we are streamable.
The fashion event of the year is certified fresh.
Pull yourself together. We have work to do.
Critics say it's smart and witty and the perfect sequel.
That's all.
Get runway ready for The Devil Wears Prada 2 on Disney Plus and Hulu. Rated PG-13.
Well, I want to just complicate the conversation a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
I read something a couple of days ago. I can't remember. I think it was The Atlantic or The Nation or something. But the headline was something to the effect of, are you allowed to dislike the Odyssey? Like, and then it made me think of Christopher Nolan's fans. And I think I put it in the chat last week, is that no fanboys fanboy out like Christopher Nolan's fanboys. You know, it's like they come for you in a personal way if you dislike his films. And I've disliked most of his films. But I think that I like this one more than most of the others, for sure. It's up there for me almost with like The Dark Knight or Memento. But this idea of sort of being like, is it intellectually, if it's intellectually honest, right? The dislike for art, should we feel intimidated to share that for fear that the masses are going to turn against us?
You know, I think there's a little bit of groupthink that goes on with a lot of movies. Brian, I'm also going to argue that a lot of the fan communities anymore are just as bad as Nolan's, maybe the Swifties, the Scream community at times.
Oh, you would know. Yeah.
Like
the Wicked community.
Yeah, like I think fan culture in general has just gone out of control. But there is a little bit of hive mind when a movie starts to take over the narrative. The same thing happened with Obsession earlier this year.
Yes.
Personally, like people were talking about it being revolutionary. I thought it was good.
Yeah, same.
That same story has been done 7,000 times of someone making a wish and it going wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's not necessarily new. It was done well.
Yes.
But like the way, like it's still
was
playing.
revolutionary. I did love it, but no, I still was revolutionary too. But no, I say I see what you're saying though, Patrick.
Yeah,
Like,
just when movies take over kind of the general conversation, like there does become a little bit of, if I don't like this, then there might be something wrong with me. And then in like 6 months, you'll kind of have like people coming out and be like, I didn't like that.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
like, and you'll get kind of almost like a backlash that's happening.
Right.
So I think it's a question, it's a valid question that the Atlantic is asking, especially with how big the Odyssey came out. Like it does feel almost like if you don't like it, you are a dissenting opinion, and you know you're almost one of the people of Troy that are going to get attacked. Like that does happen, I think, a lot with people.
This culture.
You're the Hector. You're the Paris, which actually I don't think we see.
You don't see.
I don't think we see Paris. No. Who abducts, aka human traffics Helen of Troy.
Right.
Well, Helen of Sparta.
Is that Agamemnon's wife?
Agamemnon.
No, it's
that's the other
Menelaus's wife.
Yeah.
I've never wanted to wear a gladiator hat more with the little spine attached to the back. I'm like, hey, I know what we're being for Halloween. You're Penelope and I'm the gladiator.
If I have to be a bitch about anything, it's about the casting of Agamemnon and the character that John Bernthal played. I felt like I was watching Mean Streets when John Bernthal was on screen. It was like Goodfellas or something. And then Benny Safdie, he's a great filmmaker, but I don't think he carries the weight of that character well. But I think he was cast for his jawline. I think that in the helmet, he looks good silently, but once he starts talking, it's like a voice of a 13-year-old boy or something.
Yeah, I think it's good that the helmet isn't taken off.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to like diss on looks. I'm just saying I think that
even in Hades,
like when I saw who was behind the helmet, like on the casting, I was like, oh, yeah, that doesn't strike me as a Greek warrior, but
you know that scene though when Agamemnon gets killed and like he thinks he's going to bed though, to the one part where they actually kind of are talking about sex. Kind of like I do need that helmet because you know that could be fun to role play minus knives and stuff. But
it was our plan, and then all of a sudden we were like, oh, that's who's underneath it. Oh, okay, yeah. And
it's one of those things, instead of a paper bagger, it's now an Agamemnon helmet. That'll be the new phrase.
But even just his presence, like I don't know who the actor is, but or apparently he's a producer and worth $1 billion.
Benny Safdie?
Yeah, but his presence in the movie, just watching him walk through, like it was very captivating. Yeah.
When he was quiet, he was great.
Wait, did he actually talk? I don't even remember more than like one word that he said.
He had a few lines, and every time he spoke, I was like, oh.
He spoke words?
Yeah, he did a few times.
Yeah, but I think it was wise to have Lupita Nyong'o play sisters.
Because they're not technically twins
sisters in the
text.
book,
twins,
right?
Twins.
To play twins.
Yeah, wait, is it the tethered from Us? Is that who it is? They're just the two different.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
My God, he's doing it again. Well, and I do want to read Christian Penn, who's has a lot of interesting queer myth books in the erotica space. So he did say, and I love this point, like, what do we think of the change in adaptation of what Nolan does reminded him of Wuthering Heights, like this conversation happening. Like, why not just write an original screenplay, he asks, instead of like drastically revising certain elements.
Do you think this was an original screenplay?
I don't think this was so drastically revised, though. I don't think it was.
See, I think it was completely different from the book because of how the language was also
true.
So different.
He modernized it. Yeah, he modernized it.
They modernized the language.
Yeah. And made it accessible for younger audiences.
I mean, I actually really like what Wuthering Heights is. When I read that Emerald Fennell, who I will always say, promising young woman, did not get its due during the pandemic, and that really like gets me, because I think it's such an interesting film. But I mean, Saltburn, really interesting. But when I knew she was like, oh well, Wuthering Heights, I'm making it as if a young girl is reading the book and like what speaks to her. Well, I think it's very different than what Nolan does in the Odyssey.
But also, I think what they're both trying to do is, as filmmakers, is capture the spirit of the text and then make it, translate it, reinterpret
and revitalize the classics in a literacy crisis age.
Yeah. Hey, we're talking about Wuthering Heights again. We're talking about the Odyssey again. Those are not bad things.
Yeah. And as someone who didn't read the Odyssey, I didn't walk out feeling like it was a bastardization of the poem. It still felt like I was watching the little bit that I knew about the Odyssey. It was still hitting certain touch points, which I feel like other adaptations. I haven't seen Wuthering Heights, but I heard the criticism of it. So I would say that the Odyssey definitely does still feel like it is a true adaptation for what you can do on film.
Yeah, The Guardian published an article itemizing 21 changes, but they were not super substantial. The ending was quite different. Yes, he did take a lot of liberties with the ending of the film.
Yeah, I will say the opening of Wuthering Heights, I think, is such an interesting.
Oh my God, I love that
subversion of what you think the sound of moaning is, and then what's actually happening.
That was creepy.
It's wild.
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
But also when the title screen happens with the hair, I have to rewatch Wuthering Heights. It is I think it's really. I thought it was well done.
Patrick. It's worth a watch.
I think you'll like it, Patrick. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. I didn't like it.
It's worth watching,
and we just saw Hokum today, which okay.
I had higher hopes for it because I liked his previous film a lot, Oddity.
Well, and I love witchcraft narratives, and it wasn't exactly what I thought. I will say it's kind of inspired me. I started to draft an outline, Brian, of a novel that I'm going to write of a queer horror witchcraft novel.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. That I'm going to try not to tell him too much because I am getting excited about it. And, I need to keep my ideas in my head. But, well, I do want to ask, do you want to indulge the right-wing MAGA outrage? Or I just even don't feel like it was that
What do they have against the movie?
So
The
absurd.
casting.
That's
They just
funny.
are
The
annoyed with
casting.
casting.
They want to be
I
white.
mean, you're gonna have that with every new movie.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
there's always outrage. Oh, why did they cast her? They should have cast this person.
But I mean,
Get
it's like
over it.
it's downright transphobic and racist, some of the
Yeah,
garbage coming from that
yeah.
camp.
Like, who do they want as Helen of Troy? Sydney Sweeney?
Yeah, it's just they like
Giving
all
them
these
air,
horrible like
That
hosts
would
of
have been
like,
interesting.
did you guys see was it Troy with Brad Pitt? Diane Kruger played Helen of Troy. It was a German
That's an
woman.
excellent film.
yeah.
Yeah, but like
Troy is great.
they keep doing this thing comparing the two. And I'm like, oh my God,
Different
it's
films.
just pure racism at that point when they start
And
doing
first
that.
of all, like, we don't know. Helen of Troy is a fictional character. Like,
Yeah, and by the way,
we know what
Troy
Helen
is
of
like
Troy
modern
looks like.
day Turkey, right? It's
Yeah,
Anatolia, it's Turkey. So,
yeah,
you know, a lot of these characters would have been North African, they would have been so-called Middle Eastern
yeah.
or
Mediterranean skin, olive
Mediterranean.
skin,
So it would
darker
have been,
skin. We don't.
yeah, there would have been
I mean, it's kind of
Moors.
like
Yeah,
Jesus being a white savior
but he
complex,
probably
where he
would have looked
becomes pale.
Palestinian. Yeah, Jesus probably looks Palestinian, honestly.
Yeah,
Like
but
he
no,
looks,
God forbid you say that to these
I know,
people.
I know.
Well, I
Yeah.
think that goes
Okay.
back. I think it goes back to the whole Little Mermaid thing
Oh,
too.
okay.
Like
Oh yeah, that was
when
ridiculous
people
too.
these I don't want to say these people, but it just when they
Those
have
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
they grew up with it being a certain way. And so then that's the only way it can be. And they don't want to see other interpretations of it. And it's like there's nowhere, that says that the Little Mermaid can't be black. There's
Right.
nothing that says Helen of Troy
She's a
was,
fish.
Yeah, she's a
yeah,
Yeah,
mermaid for God's
she's
sake.
a
yeah, like
Oh my
Helen
God.
of Troy, there, she was only a white woman with blonde hair because it was a Eurocentric
right.
director and translator. Like there are different things for different adaptations, and to be that close-minded about it, you miss a lot of good literature and media in general. What
Yeah, and a
with
lot
it?
of this is um white
Washing. Oh yeah.
supremacist ideology that you could actually chart back to the Renaissance when they were creating
Oh,
these blonde hair, blue eyed
ideals of beauty.
paintings of Greek mythology where the painters themselves were not blonde hair and blue eye.
Right.
They were Italian. Well, okay, there is Northern Italian blonde hair, blue eye. I don't want to ignore that. But you know what I'm saying? It's like they're creating it based on their ideal versions. And then what I think is good is where we should be able to come to a point where we can add in more layers of different diversity and representation. I mean, Lupita Nyong'o is
She did a
right a
great
Yale
job.
trained actress, an
Oh, it's
incredibly
tremendous.
gifted
Yeah,
actress.
very, very talented.
Yeah.
I
And
think
Well,
we're
well, we haven't talked about Matt Damon. Does anyone have thoughts about? First of all, I do like Matt Damon.
He looks
yeah,
great for what is he, 55?
Yeah, he looks. Yeah,
he's
He
he's
doesn't
never
even
looked
have
better.
abs. What the hell? That guy.
He's never
Damn.
looked better.
I
well. There's
do
our homoeroticism.
Yeah,
It's
and
Matt
he's a,
Damon and Ben Affleck. Sorry,
yeah.
allegedly,
Yeah.
allegedly.
Wait, Ben Affleck was in the movie?
No, but allegedly they're
No,
in
they
an affair.
Oh,
But they
yeah, I
joke
thought he was
about it there
fine.
too.
I thought he was fine. I didn't think he was a standout. I thought he did the job he was hired to do. I thought he did it well. Um, he carried the film, right? He carried this gigantic movie. Well, he's a movie
it's
star.
in some ways he was almost the straight man of the movie, so to speak. Like it was everything else going on around him, and he had to get out of the way of it. Obviously he had certain things that he had to portray, like the PTSD aspect and whatnot. But like, I think it's like in comedy where you always have to have the straight man to make the comedy work. And I feel like as Odysseus, he kind of had to play that role to be the central character of this. Otherwise, all the other parts wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, it's like
like that.
what I used to always say about Will and Grace is Will and Grace were great foils. They were great central characters, but the foils, Karen and Jack, were always so much funnier, always so
Mhm.
much more
Yeah.
entertaining. I kind of wanted the show to be more about them. Yeah,
Well, especially in light of Deborah Messing now, which I've talked
oh, I
I've
know.
talked offline. I'm not going to say, with the writer of Will and Grace, John Canale, on the podcast. And
disappointing the turn she took, but yeah.
Disappointing. It's disappointing.
I'll leave it there, I guess.
Yeah, no, but that's right, Patrick. Like he played that part very well, and it was like a glue to all the other roles. And that's where it's still kind of Nolan kept. We're still seeing it from his perspective. We're still kind of going like with his narrative, and that's I like it came together very well.
Yeah. Like you can't have a central character that is going off the rails and then all the surrounding characters going off the rails also. Like then it becomes too chaotic of a movie. So you need one of them to kind of be tamping it down, and that's really what Matt Damon was in this movie.
The straight man. The straight man in a homoerotic story. I'm only kidding.
Well, yeah, and I mean, technically, to be fair, most of the homoeroticism in the ancient Greek myth is with Achilles. Oh. So we didn't get that. Yeah, that's earlier in the narrative. So that's why we need Song of Achilles. I mean, I think, I don't think Nolan is, and I haven't seen him say like, this is the definitive. Like, we're now done with ancient Greek mythology. Like, pack up your bags, everyone. Like, he doesn't seem that much of a superiority complex person.
No.
But
also it's not a new thing that he's doing, I mean, ancient texts have been adapted into films and TV shows for over 100 years, it's
like I think and I think Troy I have more issues with Troy because that is like a homoerotic text and nothing really exists there in the film. But I still think it's a great film.
Sure.
For what it does. But any lingering thoughts that any of you have?
The one thing I would just say with what we were just talking about is I don't think that Nolan would have the hubris himself to say that this is the definitive, because even this is through a 2026 lens and like filters, whereas in 15, 20 years when there's a big filmmaker that comes out, the next Nolan, and wants to do the Odyssey, it's going to be different for them too. So I think maybe other than Emily Wilson, I don't think anyone else would say that theirs is the definitive one and actually think that they're being truthful.
And so my final thought, I guess, is this is, I don't necessarily know if we can call it high art. I think it's popular entertainment, and I think that it's okay to be popular entertainment. And I think that with a film being viewed as popular entertainment, there doesn't always have to be regard for the history or the original author and the Puritans who want a strict and faithful adaptation. With all of that said, I think was it Aristotle or Plato who said that popular entertainment will be the downfall of civilization? So I just thought that's an interesting idea to ruminate on.
This episode is brought to you by Workday. Guessing is for game shows, not your business, especially when your margin for error is 0. Workday is the enterprise AI platform for HR, finance, and IT, with a deep understanding of your organization's context and guardrails. So every AI action is permission aware, giving you accuracy 24/7 and the ability to not just get work done, but get it done right. It's a new Workday.
Hello?
Look what TJ Maxx dragged in.
The Devil Wears Prada 2 is now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
We are digital, we are downloadable, we are streamable.
The fashion event of the year is certified fresh.
Pull yourself together, we have work to do.
Critics say it's smart and witty and the perfect sequel.
That's all.
Get runway ready for The Devil Wears Prada 2 on Disney Plus and Hulu. Rated PG-13.
Probably, I think it was it Socrates who said that the written form would be also the downfall of society?
Yeah, there's always a downfall.
I mean, but Aristotle is the one who came up with literary interpretation and dramatic interpretation. But Socrates probably Yeah, he probably thought popular entertainment. Well, and see, that's the thing is,
React structure.
I will say Emily Wilson is operating out of an ivory tower opinion in my sense
Sure.
because she's coming from that like, oh, if something is popular, we must lambast it as academics, which I don't agree with.
Which is also
Um,
intellectually dishonest because popular entertainment can be great. It can be.
As you're making profit off of it too.
well,
Yeah. I mean,
again,
but
well, how much of this is also part of a marketing campaign?
Yeah, to Patrick's
Oh, do you
point,
think
I think
Nolan's
it could
paying
have.
her? Just
I
go
mean,
around
it
and
does,
say this
it
stuff.
does generate, like Patrick says, we're in a social media age right now where the more outrageous you are about your opinion, the
The
more clicks you
loudest,
get.
the loudest
and
voice.
I think also if she had written that essay and that had been the end of it, but being that she's going on NPR and doing other interviews is what makes me think that her and her publisher got together and like, let's milk this till the teat's dry. Like,
Mhm.
and is really trying to center her in the conversation as much as possible.
Well,
One
come
thing
on,
that
the Ivory Tower Boiler Room, Emily, Dr. Emily Wilson.
Send her an
I'm not,
invitation.
again, I'm not like, and I'm trying not to be, none of us are being negative about her. I mean, her work is
No.
incredible.
Yeah.
I'm interested in her new book that comes out soon with these essays of ancient Greek literature. I just think to say something is abysmal, to say that it's like Christopher Nolan shouldn't have written it, I mean, it just feels very charged. And I think that,
heavy-handed too.
yeah, but to also say, well, but thank you for getting more people to read
Mhm.
Yeah.
my work. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it feels there's a disingenuous at like it just feels very theatrical for clicks,
Informative.
which
Performative, yeah, performative.
yeah, which if that's what it is, okay, fine. Just don't be surprised that you're now going to get a lot of heated reaction to it. That's
Yeah.
you've opened the door to that. Now, I'm not saying that's different than you like sending hate mail. That's no one should get hate mail.
What's her
Well, that's a different
address?
story. That's a very different
One
story, though.
University. No, I'm just kidding.
one
I'm
person
not
we
gonna say.
didn't mention that should get at least a couple seconds is Robert Pattinson. Like I was
Oh, yeah.
never
Yeah.
through Twilight and everything. I
Oh
was
yeah,
never a
yeah.
fan of
Very
his.
true. Thank you.
All that. It was as I was watching this, I was like, between this, like, I wasn't a huge Tenet fan because I couldn't hear it. Well, I heard the noise, you couldn't hear the dialogue. But like with the Batman and some of the other movies that he's done recently, I think he's really grown into his
Mhm.
craft a little bit more. And I was watching this and I was like, I actually might like Robert Pattinson now as an actor. And like, whereas back in the day, it was like, oh, Robert Pattinson is,
He's
so.
done some great work. He was in Lynn Ramsey's Die My Love last year, which was one of my
Mhm.
Oh
favorite
yeah,
movies of last year.
Jennifer Lawrence.
I thought that was
That was
incredible.
in. Oh, that's
I
so upsetting. That film.
I
Oh,
loved it. I loved it so
it made
much.
me so annoyed the whole time, and like
I I
not because of
subscribe.
them, because of the
I think
film.
I subscribe to the theater of cruelty, Antonin Artaud and Sarah
Oh,
Kane.
I
Like
know,
if
Brian. You have
if
a
you're
little
if your the
sadistic minds.
if your art hurts me, I love you all the more for it. Just don't be innocuous and forgettable. That's what I abhor. Then he was also in the drama this year, which was really great, with also
Mhm.
Zendaya.
Oh,
Great.
Yeah,
I didn't see that. The drama.
With
yeah,
Okay.
it's fantastic.
not Zendaya. Wait.
Yeah,
Yeah, with
Yeah,
Zendaya.
with
Yeah.
Zendaya.
Okay. I need to watch that.
yeah.
And
Chris
then
Borgli is a great
has
filmmaker.
anyone seen The Invite? Because people are really talking about that.
I was trying to see it. It's out of theaters now from
Okay.
so it should be streaming soon.
Okay. That seems interesting. But yes, I'm glad you mentioned him, Patrick, because I thought Robert Pattinson. Well, first, you're my first love, but you can he's a hall pass of mine.
Hall pass.
And I will say there was a moment where I'm like, come on, Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson. This is the homoerotic moment we've been waiting. No, I'm
I'll
just
be your
kidding.
daddy. You need a daddy? I'll be
The
your daddy. He
suitors,
kept saying.
they could have just settled for themselves, but no,
Yeah,
they had to
exactly.
keep pushing for Penelope.
Yeah.
That'll be the porn parody of the Odyssey, will be all the suitors.
I think it's already made. I think I saw it on like Gay for It the other day.
No, I think someone just shared. Yeah, they did. They shared like the Odyssey, the opening scene from a porno
Oh
with
wow.
like, um, but well, I got to be careful because we're on YouTube.
Porno. A corno. Oh my God. What is on your phone? No, yeah, that's not what. We're not going to do that right now. But so no, I think yeah, this was really interesting. I appreciate your perspectives. Oh, and I'm gonna have on some world literature and English professors to talk about will they teach this version? What did they think about, holding the narrative closely? Maybe some will agree with Emily Wilson, which I'm gonna be interested in that. Um, as always, I like debates. I think debates are healthy. I think
Sure.
we don't all have to, like Patrick's saying, we don't all have to like be just praising everything. There's critical nuance is good. And I will just say, Wicked was universal. Yeah. And I was happy that this was darker and like that still is my critique of Wicked. It just felt so um
Candy
sugar
coated.
cotton candy. Yeah, I just don't like the brightness of the film. It makes me I wish it was darker in certain parts. I do like
Well, the novel was darker in a lot
oh
of
yeah, well the
ways.
novel
The
Gregory
musical,
Maguire,
yeah, Gregory
he
Maguire. I mean,
still he still is waiting for a TV version, which I hope they do a miniseries because that would be interesting.
and I hope it's on HBO or something so they can go as dark as the book needs it to go.
Yes.
And Andrew, one thing with what you were just saying, the conversations around this kind of reminds me of when Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet came out, and he completely
Mm,
took the text, made it a modern setting, and it was
yeah,
kind of the same thing. Like it got younger
that's a good
people
movie.
interested into Romeo and Juliet, but then there were people like, "What are you doing?" Like it's like drug cartels almost, So I think, there's some similarities between those two movies and the discourse that has been going on between them,
Yeah.
and whether Romeo and Juliet gets taught in schools now or as a way to like gateway people.
Yeah, exactly. I think the modernized retelling can serve as a gateway to the original text. Why not?
The
Why
Great
can't?
Gatsby, Baz Luhrmann film.
Yeah.
I was a
Also,
6-year-old talking about Romeo and Juliet. Everybody was like, "Oh, you must be so." I was like, "No, I watched the movie."
but you're right. It brings it back into the conversation. I think that's so important. Um,
Like in Clueless, when
yeah.
Cher is saying that she knows Mel Gibson, when they're talking about Hamlet, with Josh's girlfriend, she's like, "Well, I know my Mel Gibson, and it was that
Yeah,
Polonius guy."
yeah.
I love
And
that.
well,
yeah,
that's where pop
Clueless
culture
itself is
educates.
based on Jane Austen's book, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Pop culture educates. It is not just, it's not lowbrow. It is reality TV educates. It's why I believe politics should be in reality TV and
Well,
it
yeah.
gets messy
It's art
Well,
because
but
and
it's
this
life.
is
supposed to reflect us.
this is why I feel so passionately about critical theory. People like Foucault and Derrida and Kristeva, they were really the first to say, look, let's not throw away pop culture. There's a lot of utility here. Let's
Oh, yeah.
discuss it with the so-called highbrow. Why can't we
You're
have
right.
both? Why can't we have both in a single conversation?
Judith Butler's Who's Afraid
Judith
of
Butler,
Gender that
yeah, of
recently
course.
came out.
Gender Trouble.
Definitely
I
a good
love
read.
Judith Butler. Yeah.
But, and I will say too, remember, ancient, the written version of the Odyssey, like Brian said, happened at least 100, if not more, years than the oral storytelling versions. And it was all a retelling from the beginning of older history. So
Right.
it's kind of like us thinking about The Wizard of Oz and like how there's just so many layers of adaptation. Like, this is from the get-go, these ancient tales were already retelling.
Exactly.
So of course you're gonna retell. Like we should retell. That's what the
Right.
purpose is of these epics.
Of course.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
agree.
why don't get into a tizzy because they're retelling.
Yeah. No,
That's what it's supposed to do.
it's good for the culture, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So well, I want you all to say just Brian, where can everyone find you on social media?
Brian Alessandro, author on Facebook and Instagram. I have a website as well. Just type my name into
Okay,
Google, you'll find it.
great. Working on a new novel.
I have a new
Um,
novel coming out next year, yes. And my
and then
dissertation.
Pat, yes, and your dissertation is almost done.
Yes.
Patrick, where can everyone find you?
The easiest place is to find me on Instagram at based on a book by Patrick, I think. I should probably I should probably know what my
Based on a book
handle
by
is.
Patrick.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, Yeah, yeah. And if you love Scream, you have to, get Patrick's book. It all began with a scream, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Awesome.
And then
Oh, don't look for me.
Lawrence is sometimes on
Don't look for
is
me.
sometimes on the podcast, but Ivory
Don't look
Tower
for me.
Boiler Room, like this video, please share it with everyone. And yeah, this is great. So
Thank you.
until
You've been
next
wonderful.
time, we'll see what our next, film will be out there.
Go see movies, read books, new and old.
Yes, do both.
Do both.
Yeah.
If you can do both at the same time, good for you.
Multitask.
I did know a professor at Stony Brook who would read as she was walking, like literally read.
It's dangerous.
That
Well, that's
I
the old
can't do.
version of like texting. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's true. Well, thank you both, and until next time.
Take care. Bye, everyone.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye. See you.